What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. So I'm back working on this 73 Impala, this 1973 Chevrolet Impala, the 73 Donk, as some people would call it. So I'm in the middle of a rear disc brake conversion on this vehicle. All right, so far I'm gonna have several videos on this vehicle regarding the rear disc brake conversion and the stuff that I'm doing in the back of the vehicle. So while I'm back there, I'm gonna do some control arm bushings, the upper control arm bushings, the two at the top. I'm gonna do some adjustable upper control arms, and then some boxed lower control arms. So I kind of showed a little bit of that stuff in one of my other videos, and but today most of the focus is on the rear disc brake conversion kit. So I got a little bit more test fitting to do, and then and I also got to do some stuff with the axle offset. So basically on the axles, the axle offset, that's like the difference, the in and out difference of the axles. Because when you got C clips, you know, they can move in and out just a little bit, the rear axles. But the other thing is, I'm not sure if I had that much from the factory, but right now I want to say that in 2016 I rebuilt the rear end, and I put a Yukon Dura Grip limited slip, and I got some Moser 30 spline axles in there. So maybe going to the aftermarket stuff has a little bit more play in it, but there's a way I'll be able to adjust that play. I'm gonna show you guys that later on, what I got to kind of get the play reduced a little bit, because the kit that I'm going with is Wilwood, doing some 4-piston caliper, 12.19-inch rotors in the back. So a lot of their paperwork and their repair instructions say that the rear axle play should be less than 20,000. So right now on one side I got 32 thousandths, and on the other side I got like 33,000. So basically that's your measurement. Basically when you push the axle all the way in and then extend it all the way out, you know, it's just a little bit of play there. So but it didn't seem to really be an issue with the drum brakes, because I mean you had the drum on the back, but just me, when I moved the wheel in and out, I mean it wasn't enough for like the C clip to fall out, anything like that. And it drove fine and everything like that though. But with this 4-piston caliper setup on those rear disc brakes, it's got to be within a certain spec. So I'm about to jump on that in a little bit. So another thing, there's several kits out here for the the 73 Impala. So for this this is 73, but a lot of these cars on this body style is from 1971 to 1976. So let me see, I want to say SSBC Stainless Steel Brake Company. They got a kit, so it's usually branded as a Summit or a JEGS kit. So it's like 11-inch rotors, I think, 11 and some change. So they got those. They got several of those kits, but a lot of times in those repair instructions, they tell you that you need to, if you run into a certain issue with certain rear end housings, that you got to run certain brackets. So that's one of the issues I ran into. So basically, the first video I did, I basically disassembled everything in the back of the car to figure out what axle housing type I had and stuff like that. And I was able to email it, that along with the axle. It's a measurement sheet that Wilwood has. I think it's called the axle offset measurement. So basically, you measure some things on your housing and different measurements and stuff, and you give it to them. And basically, Wilwood in particular the place that I went through, which was Quick Performance, they was able to kind of help me out and find a kit for my vehicle. All right, so pretty much what I'm gonna do today, I want to try to get a couple things done. So pretty much I got home pretty much just right when the sun was starting to set, and by the time, you know, went in the house for a little bit just to kind of cool out and get back outside. You know, the sun is already down, but I'm gonna try to do a little bit of stuff tonight, and then tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up and get some more stuff done. So I mentioned I got multiple things back there that I'm trying to do while I got access to the rear of the car. But for right now, the main goal today is to kind of test fit these, make sure they're good. And another thing, so another thing is I got to kind of look out for the screws kind of protrude back here on the back. I've already been test fitting it. Just a little bit of a just to kind of make a short story out of this. Basically, like as I was mentioning before, that, you know, I sent my measurements and everything off, and I was in contact with some of the guys at Quick Performance, and one of the guys there that helped me out pretty good was Max. So I want to shout out to him. And also, if any of you guys need anything on one of these big body GM cars, or just anything in particular, they deal with a lot of drag racing stuff, and they got 9-inch rear ends and all kind of. I mean, they've had that stuff for years. My rear disc, my rear end is actually from them. Not the rear end, but the rebuild kit that I got in there, the 373 gears and the differential and all that stuff is from Quick Performance. But I bought that back in 2016, so that was about, you know, over 7 years ago. But right now, I'm trying to break this down because it's kind of a lot to condense. I mean, if y'all check out some of the other videos that I have before this one, you'll kind of be able to kind of see the flow of things and the kit that I got and everything like that. But basically, you know, you see that this kit has 6 holes in it. So what they did on my particular setup, once I showed them the rear axle I had and the measurements, it was close to the measurements on I want to say it was the big Ford style rear end. And then also the other, which is the axle offset measurement and stuff like that. So that's got a lot to do with how the rotor sits on the drum and how far in and out that it sits and stuff like that. So basically, this mounting bracket is very important. So they was able to kind of find something that would work, and the 2 top holes were very close to the ones on the other one, but and you can see these little factory holes there for that Ford rear end. But my GM 8.5 inch with the flange housing that I have on it, what they did was they drilled these other holes right here, which were pretty much spot on. I just had to open them up just a little bit so I can use these bolts here. So I got extra hardware from Tractor Supply. That's a local hardware store. So, but you can go to Lowe's, Home Depot, any of those stores. But this was the original stuff right here. So I did get some bolts that was a little bit longer. These right here are inch. These right here are 1.5 inches, and I got all the lock washers and stuff like that to go with them. So basically, what I'm in the process of doing now is I'm gonna test fit these to make sure they work. Because I've had the I want to say that the hole that was in there was a little bit bigger than 3/8, but not quite 7/16. Almost 7/16. These will almost go through there, but they would kind of like stop. I would put them through, they would stop. So now they're going all the way through. And I was on the driver's side last, so I pretty much got that close. But I had, I'm gonna say, this bolt here at the top and the 2 at the bottom. everything was going in perfect, but I had a little issue with that, so I had to take my rotary tool and just kind of trim it out just a little bit. So basically what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna test fit it, see how they fit on the car. Another thing that I may have to worry about is it's got some screws or something there for this mechanism for the parking brake. So these screws here, because this pretty much sits flat against the housing otherwise, but I kind of maybe contacting here just a little bit on those, so I may have to kind of mark that area and kind of like trim a little small notch or at an angle so to clear those screws. So that's another thing that I got to look at, because this right here needs to fit flush on the axle housing. So I'm finna go check out all that stuff, and then I'm gonna get back and go from there. So once I get this kind of squared away, once I make sure that this is gonna work, then I'm gonna go on to putting the axles in there and checking the end play of those axles. And then I'm gonna show you guys what I got to get the end play with the inspect. All right, so here we go right here. So basically, I got this on here, it's sitting good, so I'm mocking it up, but there's still just a little bit in here that I need to kind of trim out with the rotary tool, because you see I'm trying to put this in and it's not going all the way through. So basically that's so that these bolts that come with the rear end housing will work out, because these had the 7/16 holes, and Wilwood had them drilled for the smaller holes. So, but the main thing, this right here had to be center. It's a little tricky to see, but so it's fitting on there nice and center and everything. The holes that they already had pre-drilled was working out fine. I just needed to open them up just a little bit. But these at the bottom kind of were the most precise and fit pretty much perfect. So I just had to trim them out just a little bit so the 7/16 bolts will go through there. And then I had to kind of open these up. So what they did was they elongated these holes a little bit to match up with my specs, and I just had to kind of open them up just a little bit. So it's probably a little hard to see because I had a blue like a blue paint marker, but now I have it in black, so I need to trim that area out a little bit so that screw goes all the way through. And those two little screws that protrude through right here for the back of the parking brake bracket, they're not going to be an issue because they kind of sit on top of there, so I don't have to do any trimming to the rear end housing or anything like that. So I'm excited about that, but I do need to double check it on the other side, because the one on the other side is the passenger side is a right hand bracket. This right here is a left hand bracket, so they kind of key which way they go. They got to go a certain way. So after the axle's in, the calipers, they mount to the rear side of the axle. So I just got to trim this out some more to get this thing where it's perfect, and I'll be pretty much in the money. So I'm just gonna have to just trim it out just a little bit with my Dremel. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. So today I'm back on the 73 Chevy Impala. So the car is out there. What I'm about to do, I'm still working on the rear disc brake conversion, but so it's Sunday morning, nice beautiful day, sun is out, some daylight, so we get a chance to kind of see what everything's looking like while the sun is out. So I just need to move my truck back just a little bit. That way I just got room on the sides. I actually got a little bit of room over there, but you know, just in case later on, like when I'm spraying paint, trying to touch up the rear end housing and stuff like that, I don't want the overspray getting over on my truck. So at the moment, it's a little chilly outside. I want to say it's probably like mid 40 degrees, but it's gonna get up in the 60s as the day goes on. So I'm finna get back out here and show you guys where I left off at. All right, so here on the passenger side of the vehicle, I got the parking brake bracket assembly on here, and this one's worked out fine. So this is pretty much what I did last night. I just had to trim a few of the bolt holes so it sits nice and flush. So that right there is the hardware that you see, the 4 new bolts, and it's got washers and lock washers back there. So the one on the driver's side is almost done. So as you can see right here in this corner here, I'm having a little bit of an issue. So this bolt will go through there, but it's just a little cocked a little bit. So just to get it kind of perfect, hopefully this is the last time I got to trim this one, because I've basically been putting this assembly on here and taking it back off. So I've already done it about several times, but you can kind of see right here where you try to put the bolt through, it's kind of got some contact here in this area right here. So what I do, I take my Sharpie and I just kind of just put like a little mark in the area that I need to trim, and I take my rotary tool and just trim a little bit out at a time. All right, so pretty much right here, that's kind of the area that I marked out that I need to shave out. So hopefully this will be my final time having to trim this out. So like I said, the screw was going in, but it was just fitting a little. It wasn't going in nice and smooth. It was fitting a little cocky. So I just got to do minor trim. So I just basically been trimming it out just a little bit at a time. So I got this side over here. This is the one on the top left side. So that one's perfect. And this one, I just have to trim it out just a little bit so that it sits on there flush. Another thing, when you get in your measurements, they want you to get like the biggest diameter hole that's on the axle housing. And I'm gonna show you guys that. And the reason for that is, so on my axle housing, you got the tube, you got the rear axle tube, and then you also got, that's why this hole is like this big. Some of them have like a little register that they call it, that the rear end has. It's basically like a little small little lip that sticks out on the housing. So I'm gonna show you guys that real quick. All right, so in this case right here, this axle right here, so this right here is the axle tube. So if that's your biggest, if this right here is your only measurement, you know what I'm saying, they want you to take that. But if you have something like this here, even though it's not really that thick, it's probably about maybe almost as thick as the tip of this screwdriver, maybe a little bit bigger, but that's kind of like what they call, I guess, the register, or it's like a little part that sticks out from the axle, because that parking brake flange, or the bracket system, has to fit flush up against this housing. So basically you got to take a dial caliper and get the distance of this diameter right here. So you got to make, when you're doing your measurements, you got to make sure you get that, because that bracket system has to sit flush up against that. So I just wanted to point that out. All right, so I just got done trimming this hole out here on my on this hole right here at the top. So it's the top upper hole. So what I've been using is this Bauer rotary tool. You guys probably see me use it in one of the other videos. So so this is driver's side. So this one I've had to pull off several times, on and off, test fitting and trim just a little bit. So I just mark it with my Sharpie in there, and then just trim it just a little bit at a time. So this had, I guess, because these bolts right here are 716-14. So this is basically close to the original bolts that was in that housing. So the housing has a 7/16" hole in it. Just the original bolts was a little shorter. I went down to the Tractor Supply store and got some got some hardware, some bolts, washers, matched them up. These are a little bit longer. They need to be a little bit longer because this housing here is a little bit thicker. But they drilled from Wilwood. They come drilled with, like, I would say maybe a little bit bigger than a 3/8 hole, but not quite 7/16. So if you put the 7/16 for this hole right here, we can use, because this right here is a factory hole. So Quick Performance, which is the place I ordered these brakes from, because when I gave them my measurements and stuff like that. So in the last video, I kind of talk about the measurements and everything that I took. But so basically, they modified this right here to work with my vehicle, and they put these bottom 2 holes in there, and the top 2 holes kind of match closely. So they had to maybe like water them out a little bit. So this right here was one of the original holes, and they just kind of made it, they kind of elongated it a little bit, but it was still to fit, you know, slightly smaller bolts. So basically, like, you see this hole right here. Let me take these washers off so that you got a good idea. So this almost fits in there, but it just didn't go all the way through. So basically, you gotta just, I took like a step drill bit. So yeah, I took a step drill bit, and it's got a 7/16. See, it's marked right there. So 7/16 is right there. The next is, I believe, a half. But so I didn't go too far. I put this blue tape on there so I can pretty much stop it. So basically, that's kind of what I did. So I was able to open those holes up. In addition to that, I also had a drill bit too. I want to say I used a combination of this in a 7/16 drill bit. So basically, that's the reason, because I didn't want to put smaller bolts in there, because I figured if you put smaller bolts in there, like, you know, even though you had this thing tight and torqued down in extreme braking conditions, you know, this thing, just the centrifugal thing, you know, saying if you having, you know, it's gonna probably end up moving one way or the other. I wasn't sure, but anyway, I figured the housing has a 7/16 bolt, so I just need to kind of make these holes slightly bigger. But the ones at the bottom, because I did test fit it to make sure all the holes line up to the housing, and they lined up pretty much perfect. So I just knew I needed to open them up a little bit. So the ones at the bottom were pretty much perfect. Because the other thing is, you want this thing to sit center in there, like over, you know, over that register. It needs to be kind of sitting central on the housing, because, you know, you have a rotor that's going to, this parking brake structure is basically a finished area inside the back of the rotor that slides on. So all of that stuff needs to be as center as possible so the parking brake can work good. So all right, so I'm gonna go ahead now and test fit, well, kind of test fitting and mocking it up at the same time. So basically, long as I can put all my 4 bolts in there and they fit nice and smooth, I'm just gonna kind of snug them up on there, and then I can go ahead and stick my axles in and kind of test fit them, just to kind of see how everything is matching up. All right, so just another little thing, you know, I got my air hose and my air blower. So basically, if you're doing any type of like, if you have to trim anything on your vehicle, especially stuff that's a part of the brake system, the drivetrain, or either in the engine, so when you trim out a little bit of material, you're gonna get little fine pieces of metal dust. And so I've been using my vacuum cleaner to vacuum that up, and also my air blower to blow this thing out to make sure there's like no debris or anything in here. So just that's just something to think about. All right, so this is how you pretty much know you're good. So basically, you kind of see that the bottom edge of this hole here lines up with the rest of that hole there. So this hole is a little bit wider than usual, because this actually belongs to a Ford application that they basically they kind of made some additional holes and some modifications to it to make it work with my application here. So so basically, I'm putting that in, and it's fitting nice and snug. So I got all my screws in, and I'm starting to put these I got my new hardware lock washers And so I'm just gonna put those on. So, and you can see that, you know, it's nice and center around here. So I got some little tape here covering up the axle seal and everything, so nothing gets in there. Cause then I kind of spray painted up this housing just a little bit. So it's a little windy out here, and you know, springtime. So you got trees and stuff blowing, pollens out here and all kind of stuff like that. So all right, so I'm glad to finally have this thing fitting good and everything like that. So both of them are on the car. Now I can test fit my axles and see what they look like on there. I need to take the diff cover off real quick, and then I can proceed with checking my axle offset.